Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing good. This is the weekly market update live stream. If you are new to my YouTube channel, please make sure to subscribe to it. Please make sure to like the live stream. If you're not following me over Twitter, 𝗟𝘅𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗁, this is my Twitter handle. I occasionally post market updates, calls over my Twitter account as well. In fact, I have been posting, the spot calls over my Twitter account. So please make sure to follow me over Twitter as well. Once again, 𝗟𝘅𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗁, this is my Twitter handle. If you would like to receive more organized updates and calls, you can always join in the Discord server. The link you can find in the description of this video. In fact, all of the links you would find in the description of this video. So let's start the live stream. If you have any chat requests, any questions, you can always drop in the chat box. First of all, let's start with the one short position that we have open right now. There is another short position also open on FXS. That short position already has stops moved to break even. We have taken 3 TPs off that position, but yeah, we just opened another short position an hour or two ago on ORDI. The entry for this short position was 0.7.11. DCA is at, in fact, you would find the complete call in the Discord server as well. But yeah, for those of you who are not in the Discord server, this is the short position that I opened just an hour ago. Entry once again is 7.11. DCA is somewhere around 7.56, and then the stop loss is a hard stop loss at $8, right? If you missed the call, because Divine249 in the chat box is saying missed ORDI, want another one. I'm not really sure because would have to wait and see the market reaction. If the market reaction is what I am expecting, like a drop towards downside, then yes, I would definitely be open to give another short call. But yeah, we first of all need to wait for the market reaction. The US market will open in the next 22 minutes. The GDP numbers came in. If you look at the economic calendar for this week, the GDP numbers came in. You can see that it was much worse than expected. So the forecast was for negative 0.2%. The previous one was negative 0.2%, and the actual numbers are negative 0.5%. So this is the same thing that I was mentioning during a last update as well, when I was talking about how Fed chair was pointing out during his press conference. He was pointing out that we have not yet seen the full impact of the tariffs, in terms of inflation, in terms of the GDP numbers, in terms of consumer spending and everything. We have not seen the full impact of those things, tariffs and everything, as of yet. But one thing is for sure, that in the near future, we are definitely going to see the impact of it. Okay, he gave a very beautiful example, explained it very beautifully during that press conference, that the manufacturers, they are going to avoid the burden of that cost increase, price increase. The people who are importing those goods, they are people who are exporting those goods, they would try their best to ditch the price increase. People who are importing those goods, they would try their best to, ditch the price increase. Same is the case with the retailers. Same is the case with, the people, the suppliers. Same is the case with people who are just working as a middleman, and same is the case with the consumer as well. Obviously, the consumer is going to be towards the end of this chain, so they wouldn't really have any other choice except for just accepting the reality and accepting the price increase. But yeah, each one of these people in this whole chain, they would definitely try their best to avoid the price increase, or they would try their best to avoid the burden of this tariff situation and all of these things. But one day or the other, one of these consumers or one of these people in these chains, they would have to finally realize that loss, right? But anyways, this is what we are seeing in terms of GDP numbers also. I'm going to write a detailed update on that as soon as the live stream ends. I would be posting the update in my Discord server, in the market updates channel, and also my Twitter account. So once again, if you're not following me, if you're not following me on Twitter, 𝗟𝘅𝗻𝗃, this is my Twitter handle. As I said, I occasionally post updates, market calls, market updates and everything on my Twitter account as well. So 𝗟𝘅𝗻𝗃, please make sure to follow the Twitter account. And if you would like to receive more organized updates and calls, you can always join the Discord server. All of these links are in the description of this video. So, I was talking about the one short position that we have open. If you would take a look at my watch list, you can see that I have a couple of different coins added into the watch list. All of these coins are looking good for a short position. Ace, you can see that this one is just getting rejected at the resistance level. If I just show you the 4-hour time frame chart, you can see that it's sitting at the resistance level. 𝗏𝘃, this one is also sitting at resistance level. In True and Ace, I actually wanted to open short positions on both of these coins. Initially when this dump was happening back on Saturday and Sunday, when we had a lot of uncertainty in terms of geopolitical events, right? When there was this growing anticipation that what would happen if US actually participates into this war. At that time, we had like a couple of different short positions that we could have opened. I just had 2 short positions at that time. One was Zeta, the second one was FXS. I just failed to open any other short position, during that whole drama, because I was taking a break at that time. But anyways, the main reason I'm not going to open any position on Ace and True is because they have a very small market cap, like around 30 million, 40 million. I don't really, like sharing the positions on the coins that have such a small market cap, like, 30 million, 40 million. Try my best to share a coin that has a market cap above 100 million, 200 million, 500 million, right? So in the case of 𝗏𝗏, it has a very good market cap. It did tap the entry 1 or 2 times. So yeah, just have the limits placed already. There is a chance that price would go back to the entry once again. But you can see that almost all of these positions are looking really good. True was looking really good. Ace is looking really good. RVN is looking really good. If it goes back up to retest this level, I would consider opening a short position. PRCL, this one is looking good. But once again, the problem is that it has a small market cap, right? 𝗟𝘁𝗃 spot position we have open. We have limits placed on 1 or 2 of these coins. One is 𝗟𝘁𝗃, the second one is Magic. So both of these on both of these coins we have the limits placed. The Magic limit is going to be filled pretty soon, because price is just moving back towards the entry point. So if you do not have the positions, if you do not have the limits placed on any of these 2 or 3 coins that I mentioned, you can do so. But yeah, apart from that, I have been considering opening short positions mainly. In fact, we did open 2 or 3 short positions back on Monday, around like 5 p.m. UK time. We did open short positions on Mask, and then the second one was BNT. Now, we had to close both of those positions break even yesterday. The main reason was because I was not expecting a ceasefire. I was not expecting such a weak response from Iran. My initial anticipation was that maybe this time it's going to be different. We saw a similar kind of playbook back in 2020 also, when General Qasem Soleimani was assassinated by US during Donald Trump's administration. He did that. He made that bold decision. And at that time also, Iran said that they are going to retaliate in a very strong manner. Obviously, the response was a very weak response. They did attack an air base, they did attack a base in the Gulf region, in the Middle East region, but they did warn, in advance that they are going to attack that base, right? And none of the missiles actually, impacted that base or that region, and that really was a very weak response. This time, because there was a direct participation of US in this conflict, US directly bombed those sites in Iran. So my initial expectation or my initial anticipation was that maybe this time it's going to be different. I was not following the news at that time. I exactly remember when I shared the short positions. I had no idea that, Iran had attacked once again a US base in Qatar. I had no idea about that because I was just sharing my two short positions, right? And I had no idea that just in a span of 30 minutes, not only did they attack this base in Qatar, but also they warned US in advance, and their point of view was that they just wanted to minimize any sort of casualties, right? Which was, once again a very absurd sort of a thing that, if you are attacking a region or if you actually are going to retaliate, then what exactly does this mean? But anyways, they did warn in advance, and just in a span of 30 minutes, we had the news that just in a span of 30 minutes, we had the news that, not only the attack happened on this Qatar air base, and that's when Bitcoin had a move from 101,000 down to 99,000. But just in a matter of few minutes, we had the news, we had this post from Trump's, on his Truth social media saying that they did warn us in advance, and now it's time to move towards peace. And just in a matter of 1 hour or so, the ceasefire was announced, and at that time, market started rallying. So this was a really unexpected thing from my point of view. I was not expecting any of that, to be very honest. This was one of those times when I was not focused on the chart, because if you were focused on the others.d chart, then you would have said that no, others.d is sitting at support. So same is the case with total 2, same is the case with total 3. So it makes no sense to open a short position right now. But this was one of those times that I just wanted to follow my gut feeling instead of just going with, whatever was happening in terms of charts. Once again, I had no idea. I was less focused on the news. And as soon as I opened those short positions, I saw price on every single coin, going up. And at that time, I realized that, the ceasefire was announced. There was a denial, from the Iranian administration saying that, they had nothing to do with the ceasefire. Then after a few hours, it was announced, it was, announced that, the ceasefire has actually happened in the next 12 hours. Both sides said that, there was a violation of ceasefire, but then, one or two tweets from Trump in which he said that, he warned both of the sides not to violate the ceasefire. Once again, it's a very fragile ceasefire, but yeah, that's how exactly it happened. That's exactly how it unfolded. But once again, like I said, I was not expecting any of that to happen in such a short period. One thing I already knew, that these sort of geopolitical events, they do not have any longer term implication. Okay, remember this thing. Anytime you have any of these geopolitical events, they wouldn't really have a longer term implications. I mean, just consider the Russia-Ukraine war. That war has been going on for the past 3 years or so. Okay, same is the case with Sherlock sounds like average. Hello, your computer has a virus guy. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Okay, so I was saying that, I was not expecting any of that to happen in such a short period, but yeah, that's how basically all of these things unfolded. So this is a recap of whatever has happened in the past 7 days or so. Now let's take a look at the charts. And before we do that, once again, we have one short position open on AUD USDT. We are 11 minutes away from the US market open. So let's see what happens, right? We are 11 minutes away from the US market open. I already did share a detailed market update on my Twitter account and in the Discord server as well, in the market updates channel. I did share a complete detailed market update. You can just go and read that market update. I already have mentioned all of the things in that market update, but I'm just going to give you a brief overview. or whatever is happening, sorry, or whatever is happening in terms of the USDT dominance chart and the Bitcoin chart. Okay, so a clear warning from my side. First of all, yes, the total three chart, the reason why I'm opening short positions, or the reason why I'm slightly inclined towards opening, slightly more inclined towards opening more short positions, is because total three is sitting at resistance. Same is the case with total two as well. And others.d has been behaving like, an absolute shitty chart, right? Others.d is, trading under a major daily resistance. So that's why I just wanted to open short positions, one or two short positions. Yes, total two is performing slightly better. Ethereum is maybe outperforming Bitcoin, or is outperforming the rest of these altcoins. The major market cap coins, they are somewhat outperforming the rest of these mid market cap and small market cap coins. I mean, this has been the same thing, for the past 1 or 2 years, that the yes, Ethereum obviously has not performed in a manner that we would have wanted it to, but it has performed much better in comparison to these mid market cap and low market cap coins, which are absolutely not doing anything. But yeah, Ethereum is exactly at where it was almost an year ago or almost 2 years ago. Nothing much has changed in case of ETH as well. But yes, the chart looks bullish. We still have our entry at 1850 region. I guess it's 1950 or maybe 1850. We'll take a look at that later on. Let's first of all start with the Bitcoin chart. Let's first of all take a look at some short-term levels. Okay, so if you are looking to position yourself into a scalp long position, you need to be focused on 106.5k region, because 106.5k level, that's a very important level. You can see that 106.5k price has almost always reacted at 106.5k. If you would just go back in time, and you can see that we had rejection at this level when price was trading under this level. We had rejections, multiple rejections, and we had multiple bounces at this level. Once again, price went under this level, rejections, came back up. This was a scalp long position that we took. I exactly remember back on 12th of June, we were able to catch almost $1,300, $1,400 move. Once again, price went under this level. This was another short position. This was a long position that we opened, and this was a short position that we opened. You can see that we once again were able to catch, it was weekend, we were able to catch a $1,500 move. Then once again, price came back above this level. This is exactly when Trump made the tweet that people of Tehran, they need to evacuate the city. We had the first bounce at this level. Once again, we came back into this level. And that's when we had some sort of uncertainty in the market, what exactly is going to happen in terms of US participation in this conflict, in this war. But the point here is that the point that I'm trying to make is that we have reacted at 106.5k level every single time in the past 1 month or so, in the past 30 days or so, which makes me feel that, because the first retest has not happened. You can see that this was the first retest, right? This was the first retest, this was the first retest, a first retest, another first retest, this was the first retest, and this was the first retest, and this was the first retest. So you can see that, at almost every single occasion, price has reacted in terms of the first retest, which means that if we drop back down to 106.5k, and in fact it's just going to be a $500 drop, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, because we had negative GDP print, we had two consecutive negative GDP prints. Yes, in terms of rate cuts, it's a slightly complicated story, because we had the the unemployment claims also drop, which makes situation a bit more complicated. But yeah, I'm going to write a detailed update on that, and I would recommend that all of you please read that update as soon as the live stream ends, because it would give you a broader picture, a bigger picture of what exactly is going to happen in terms of rate cuts, because that is the only possible catalyst that we are looking at. This is the only possible catalyst which may, trigger an altcoin rally in the near future. We had the next FOMC meeting in July, then we had the next one in September, and there has been already yes, we are expecting the first rate cut for 2025 to happen in the month of September. But yeah, Trump recently announced, he has been constantly targeting Powell. He just recently announced that he is now considering appointing the next Fed chairman in the next few months. So this is going to be an early appointment, and whoever person he appoints is obviously going to act as a shadow federal chairman, right? Chairman of the federal bank. But yeah, people are now expecting that the rate cuts may happen as early as the month of July, okay, which is going to be a really bullish thing for the market. But I don't really think that's going to happen. The best possible way to look at it is going to be this dot plot. You need to just focus on the probability chart, and you can see that in terms of probability, if I just refresh this page, you can see that the updated probability for the month of July, wow, this is really good. For the month of July, we now have 75% probability that the rates would still remain the same. Okay. And for the month of September, we have now a greater probability. The last time I looked at this graph, the probability for the rates to stay the same, it was I guess like 55% or something like that. But anyways, for the updated graph, you can always check this website. That's where you're going to get the real-time data, and it's updated in real time. But yeah, we are expecting the first rate cut to happen. Obviously there is you know anybody who you would ask, they might have an altogether different opinion. Some people are saying that, some institutions, some banks are saying that we are not going to have any rate cuts for the year 2025. Some of them are still projecting 2 rate cuts. The best possible way to look at it is the dot plot. And during the last FOMC meeting, when we had the updated dot plot, the best part was that we still had the expectation, we still had the projection for the 2 rate cuts. But okay, coming back to this chart, 106.5K level I was talking about. So 106.5K level, you would expect the price to maybe just drop back down to 106.5K at the US Open. We'll see in the next 4 minutes or in the next 30 to 40 minutes. And that's when you can, just try to position yourself into a long position. You would expect some sort of a bounce at 106.5K region, right? So this is where the next support for Bitcoin is in a short term, right? And the next resistance obviously is at 109K level. You can see that price almost has reacted at this level over and over again. At multiple occasions, we had the reaction at 109K level, right? And if we look at the anchored VWAP, because we know that the first retest of anchored VWAP happened back on 23rd of June. Now this was a good opportunity to position yourself into long. In fact, the first retest was back on 23rd of June around 1 a.m. The second retest was when the Iran attacked the US base in Qatar. That's when we had a drop down to 99,000 level. So we had 2 retests of this anchored VWAP, but I wouldn't really consider these as good retests. That whenever we draw the anchored VWAP, price would ultimately go back down to the anchored VWAP and would give you a nice opportunity to position yourself into a long, right? And the good part is that 104.5K level is perfectly synchronized with the USDT dominance chart as well. So, eventually we have to make the decision based on the USDT dominance chart and Bitcoin chart, side by side. So, the important part here is that if you're looking to position yourself into maybe a swing long position, I wouldn't really call it a swing long position, but because for me, since the daily time frame structure, the daily, market structure on the USDT dominance chart, since it's bullish, so I wouldn't really prefer taking a long position on Bitcoin. Or even if I take one long position on Bitcoin, I wouldn't really like to call it a swing long position, because in my opinion, that because the market structure on the daily time frame chart is bullish on USDT dominance and bearish on Bitcoin, so you cannot really call it a swing long position until and unless you are entering at a spot like 98K, 99,000. I was pointing this out over and over again that 98,000 support retest that has not happened in the past. And we know that the first retest, that is usually always a good opportunity to position yourself into a long or a short. And we can see that the first retest of 98K, that was a very good opportunity. Once again, the level was perfectly synchronized with the resistance on the USDT dominance chart. Okay, this is what you need to do. You need to look at both of these charts side by side, and only then you need to make the decision. You can see that we had the perfect rejection at this resistance level, and then price on the Bitcoin chart also perfectly bounced at this 98.2K or 98,000 support level. So if you are looking to position yourself into maybe just if you're looking to catch maybe a $1,500 $1,600 move, then you can take a look at the 106.5K level. Maybe you would expect some sort of reaction, but I'm not gonna do this I'm not going to take a long position this time at 106.5K. And the second region that maybe, you would see a much bigger bounce, a $2,000, $3,000 bounce, that's going to be 104.5K region. This is what I'm looking at, 104.5K, because this is where the anchored VWAP is positioned. And at the same time, this is the level that price on the USDT dominance chart would go back up to the resistance level. Okay, I would be explaining that part later on. So this is the update from the Bitcoin chart. We will get back to that chart later on, but 106.5K, a small bounce could be expected. Anchored VWAP at 104.5K, a bigger bounce could be expected. The daily time frame structure on Bitcoin is not looking really good. 109K is a short-term resistance. 110K, that's going to be a big resistance level. That's where you can position yourself into a swing short position, okay, based on different support and resistance levels. Okay, now let's simply just go back to the USDT dominance chart, because this is where you would get a much clearer picture, right? First of all, let's have a brief overview of the daily time frame structure on the USDT dominance chart. If you are following my updates regularly, you would know that already. That the daily time frame structure on the USDT dominance chart is bullish, and that's why we need to be slightly cautious about opening any long position on Bitcoin until and unless we are catching the bottom of that move. Let me explain to you what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's say that price is moving in a downtrend. This is the downtrend. You have an impulsive wave, corrective wave, impulsive wave, corrective wave, and impulsive wave, right? So we know that, when we talk about these waves, impulsive and corrective waves, whether it's an uptrend or it's a downtrend, the impulsive waves are greater in length in comparison to the corrective waves. Okay, this is your impulsive wave. It's bigger in length in comparison to corrective wave. So until and unless you are entering right at the bottom of this corrective wave, which is somewhat difficult in my opinion, yes, 98,000 was a good opportunity to position into a long or maybe buy in spot, but most of the times it's difficult, right? So until and unless you're entering right at the bottom of the corrective wave, you wouldn't get the best possible risk to reward ratio, because the corrective wave is still a corrective wave and it's not going to be much bigger in length in comparison to the impulsive wave. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to say here, that if you're looking to position yourself into a long on Bitcoin, you need to be a bit careful, because you wouldn't get a much bigger price swing. So looking at the USDT dominance chart, one thing that we already have established over and over again during the past few updates, that the daily time frame structure of USDT dominance chart, it's bullish. It turned bullish when we had this change of character back on 5th of June. I was pointing this out over and over again, and in fact in the last update also we did mention that after this change of character, when price dropped back down to this level, that's when Bitcoin had a move from 100K all the way up to 110K. And I remember a few tweets from these big influencers saying that, good luck shorting Bitcoin at 110K. They were really joking that, good luck shorting Bitcoin at 110K. These weekly candles are looking really strong. This does not make any sense if you're shorting Bitcoin at 110K. But what happened next? We had dropped from 110K down to 98K. And if you remember my update at that time, I had a very detailed update published in my channel. And that update started with the statement that I'm going to give you an alternate point of view, because that really was an alternate point of view, because we were really sitting $2,000 away from the last all-time high. And I just wanted to give you an alternate point of view that, why exactly price may drop from this level, or why exactly price may not really be able to break above the 112K region. And I would tell you exactly why. First of all, on the daily time frame chart, we know that the higher the time frame, the more accurate the things are going to be, and the lower the time frame, the less accurate things are going to be. Obviously, a change of character that happened on the daily time frame chart is going to be much more significant in comparison to the change of character which happens on the, let's say, 15 minutes or 5 minutes time frame chart, right? And one thing that I did mention, that I have hardly seen that on the daily time frame chart, one change of character is followed by another change of character. Okay, let me explain to you what I'm talking about. So let's say that this is the downtrend on the USDT dominance chart. At some point in time, USDT dominance chart had a break above, at some point in time, USDT dominance chart had a break above the previous high. This is what you would refer to as a change of character, right? Now this is a signal that, price is broken above the downtrend, price is broken from the downtrend, and now it's simply just going to move in an uptrend. Okay, this is your change of character. And what happens in normal circumstances is that price would drop back down and then it would simply just give you another break of structure. But what these people saying that good luck shorting Bitcoin at 110K were actually saying was that, after this change of character, after this signal that USDT dominance is now going to move towards an uptrend, it has already broken from its downtrend. They were basically saying that price would just go under this low once again. So this is one change of character and this is another change of character. So basically price signaled that now it's going to move from a downtrend towards an uptrend. And as soon as you start positioning yourself into maybe an uptrend somewhere around here, it just gave you another signal that once again now it's not going towards uptrend, it would simply just move into a downtrend once again. Now this is not an impossible sort of a thing, but this is a very uncommon phenomena, and that too on the daily time frame chart, because we know that any moves that happen on the daily time frame chart, they're going to be much more better in comparison to the smaller time frame chart. So I was simply saying that one change of character after another change of character, after another change of character, that's a very uncommon sort of phenomena, and I do not think that's gonna happen, right? And this is what exactly happened in this situation. On the daily time frame chart, we had the change of character, then we dropped back down. And at that time, the update clearly mentioned that when price drops back down, okay, this is a very common thing. As I said here, what usually happens is that after the change of character, price drops back down to 65%, 70.5% fib level. When you would draw the fib level, start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave, it would drop back down to 65%, 70.5% fib level. Or alternatively, you can draw the volume profile from the swing low to the swing high, and point of control, if it's below the 50% level, you can use it to position yourself into a long. Okay, your long is going to look something like this. Take a long position around here. Then you can place your stop loss just under this low, and you can simply just target the next highs. Now what I just explained to you is the complete entry model. You can use it on the 4-hour time frame chart, you can use it on the daily time frame chart, and if you are using it on the smaller time frame chart, you would have to add like 2 or 3 more confluences, not just in terms of some external confluences like dynamic levels or support and resistance levels, not really that, but in terms of market structure. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but once again, what I just explained to you is a very beautiful entry model as well. People have different variations of this entry model. Now I'm not saying that this is a complete entry model. Obviously people have different variations of this entry model. Some people would wait for price to give one break of structure after this change of character. Now this is solid confirmation that change of character and break of structure trend has actually changed. Now you just need to wait for price to go back down and give a retest at this level. You can use an order block, you can use a fair value gap, you can use a deviation below this low, you can use a sweep below this low. I mean, that's completely on you. Okay, there are different variations of this entry model, but this actually is the base model that I just explained to you, that you wait for the change of character, then you wait for the break of structure, or then you can simply just position yourself into a long or a short, based on 70.5% fib level, 65% fib level, or based on volume point of control. So what I was pointing out in this situation was that change of character has happened. Price dropped back down to this level, which was exactly when price on the Bitcoin chart was at 110K. I was simply saying that, it's possible that, this is simply just a retracement wave. Because we are sitting at the volume point of control. If you would draw the volume profile, start of impulsive wave, end of impulsive wave, or if you would draw the fib level, start of impulsive wave, end of impulsive wave, we are indeed sitting at 70.5% fib level, 65% fib level. This is what I'm talking about, and it's quite possible that we are going to go up from here, and then we would ultimately create a new higher high. We would just give another break of structure. So in short, this is what exactly happened. And this is what I have been warning you about for the past 72 hours or so, that, the same thing might be happening at this point as well. Okay. Now, if you are someone who is just trading based on SR levels, then, price apparently bounced at this level without, any sort of support. The next support was at 4.41% level. and we just bounced in the middle of nowhere. What was the reason? The reason was fib levels and this point of control. So I'm pointing out the same thing here as well. We had our break of structure, we went on to create a new higher high. In this situation also, if it's the same playbook, if it's the same thing, then you would draw the volume profile, start of impulsive wave, end of impulsive wave, price is sitting at the point of control. Sorry, price is sitting at the point of control. If you would draw the fib level, start of impulsive wave, end of impulsive wave, price is precisely tapped the 65% fib level, which is once again a very concerning thing. That why exactly price just precisely bounced at 65% fib level, meaning that something really is happening here. And which basically makes me think that we are ultimately going to go and break above this high. Now, what exactly it means in terms of Bitcoin? It basically says that it automatically translates into the fact that Bitcoin would have a rejection at 108K, 110K, 107K levels in this $3,000 range. And then ultimately it would go under the 98K levels. So the assumption or the anticipation is that, or the thesis is that we are not going to see a break and close or a break above 112K level, or we are not going to see a break above the previous all-time high. Okay, because if that happens, then this whole uptrend is going to get invalidated on the USDT dominance chart. And remember one thing that we have the major swing low, we have the major swing high. If we break and close below this major swing low, that's when the market structure is going to flip. If we break and close above the major swing high, that's when the market structure is going to just continue with the same direction which we just talked about. Okay, so this is what the USDT dominance chart is telling you. This is what the USDT dominance chart is conveying to you, that you need to be focused first of all on this major swing low, major swing high. If we break and close below this low, this whole idea, this whole thing that we just talked about, it's simply just going to get invalidated, right? And if we break and close above this major swing high, okay, that's when you would simply just have the continuation of the move, and you would simply just continue to play the same thing over and over again. Now, one thing, why exactly are we finding it so difficult to break above this level? I mean, in the previous case also, it did take us almost like 24 hours to break above this level. That's a very common phenomena. In this situation also, obviously, just we would have to wait for the next 24 hours to see how this candle closes. But remember that we have 1-day 12-period exponential moving average. So we are trading right under 1-day 12-period exponential moving average. And this is why we know that 1-day 12-period exponential moving average, yes, it's a good indicator, but it's not a very higher period moving average. It's still simply just a 12-period moving average, right? Drawn on the daily time frame chart, which means that it may control the price on the USDT dominance chart for some time, meaning that it may control the price on the Bitcoin chart from dropping below 106.5K, 107K level for some time. But eventually you would see a much bigger drop down to 104.5K levels, right? The reason why I'm talking about 104.5K level is because, this is the resistance for the USDT dominance chart. Now, remember that in this situation also, if you would take a look at the 4-hour time frame chart, once we bounced at this level, once we had a bounce at this level, we did have a small rejection at this resistance level. The thing that I'm trying to say is that USDT dominance is just following all of these levels precisely. You had the first bounce, you had the first retest, which was a successful one. You had the first retest, which was a successful one. You had the first retest, a successful one. You had the first retest, which was a successful one. You had the first retest, which was a successful one. Okay. So once again, we know that the first retest, best opportunity to take a long or a short. So even if USDT dominance manages to go up, okay, manages to break above this level, manages to go up, and once we have a bigger break, once we have a bigger bounce here, that's when it would be confirmed that we are ultimately going to see a move below 98K level. And something which makes me believe in this statement more and more is because we had this whole move from 98K all the way up to 108K just on the back of a ceasefire, right? Yes, the markets are very bullish, and I was looking at the chart and somebody pointed out that, is the bias bullish for now? I don't think it's bullish. The reason is that, yes, the equity market is trading at its all-time high. Yes, Bitcoin is trading very close to its all-time high. Yes, the fundamentals look extremely strong, but one thing that you need to realize is that when you're trading at the all-time high, you would get the best possible risk to reward ratio for short position, not for a long position. Because that's when the uncharted territory starts, right? That's when the unknown territory starts. S&P 500 is already trading at its all-time high, okay? Bitcoin is trading very close to the all-time high. We don't know what exactly is going to happen above 112K. We have a very limited set of tools. You may use you may use the Fib levels in terms of Fib extensions, Fib expansion, Fib retracement, but you have a very limited set of tools, right? Maybe you would do the order book analysis, but once again, you have a very limited set of tools and you wouldn't really know what exactly is going to happen with price. So in my opinion, this whole move, especially on the Bitcoin chart, happened mainly because of the ceasefire thing, meaning that some external factors were involved and not just the internal factors on the chart. Yes, the internal factors are always in play. Yes, 98,000 support retest was always going to happen. Yes, that retest was always going to be a successful one. There were 99.99% chances. Yes, we are moving in the same range. Yes, the bullish structure on USDT dominance is still completely intact. Yes, USDT dominance is still doing exactly the thing it did the last time. Yes, it's simply just trading at the 65% fib level at the volume point of control. Nothing much has happened. But remember that, this whole move, it happened because of a ceasefire. So that's why, it may not be a very sustainable sort of move. But anyways, looking at this chart, even if we go back up to this level, okay, now let's have a plan of action that what exactly you should be doing in this situation. Looking at the Bitcoin chart, we established the fact that, okay, if you're looking for a short, then 110K, that looks like a good spot to build a swing short position. If you are looking for a long position, I wouldn't really call it a I wouldn't really call it a swing long position, but yes, you need to wait for price to drop back down to 104.5K. Now let's further what would you call it? Let's further test this thesis using the USDT dominance chart, okay? Because we know that both of these charts, they're somewhat synchronized with each other. So if USDT dominance goes back up to the resistance level, which is 2.24% away from the current market price, okay, then you would see a drop in USDT dominance, and USDT dominance is expected to give some sort of rejection around here, meaning that if Bitcoin goes 2.24% down, okay, let's see where exactly it's going to be. So 2.24% down, that's going to be around 104.6K. Okay, so precisely 104.5K. So 104.5K, you would have two reasons to long Bitcoin. One reason is going to be that Bitcoin would drop back down to the anchored VWAP. The first complete retest of anchored VWAP has not happened as of yet. So that's a solid opportunity to get into a long position. And then the second, confluence that you would have, the second confirmation that you would have is that USDT dominance is now at the resistance level, at the 4-hour resistance, at the daily time frame resistance. We know that the first retest is always, usually 99.9% cases, is always a successful one. So yeah, USDT dominance is expected to get rejected around here. So why not build a long position on one of my favorite altcoins, or on the Bitcoin chart? I would prefer taking a long on Bitcoin in comparison to altcoins, because altcoins are performing really shit until and unless you're talking about some bigger market cap coins like ETH. So 2.24% move. That's when you would take a long position on Bitcoin, which is going to be 104.5K. But what happens if we simply just drop back down to this level, right? We have an expectation that, we can drop back down to this next support as well, okay? Now, that's a very highly unlikely scenario, considering that we have the daily time frame ELD VWAP, we have the point of control, we have the fib levels present around here. But in any case, we need to look at the alternate point of view as well. So if that happens, we have the expectation that price would drop almost like 3.2% down on the USDT dominance chart, which basically means that a 3.4% or 3.2% increase in the Bitcoin price. Okay, so that's going to be around 110.5K. Okay, so this is where you would look to short, or this is where you would look to position yourself into a short position on the Bitcoin chart. This would give you a very good risk to reward ratio. Let's suppose if you're entering at 110K, you would place a stop loss right above this level. I mean, this is this is as good as the risk to reward ratio as you can get, because you know you are entering right at the top. This is what you would call a swing short position, right? 25 people are watching this live stream. I would really appreciate if all of you are able to press the like button. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe to it, and please make sure to follow me over Twitter as well, 𝗟𝘅𝗍𝗏. This is my Twitter handle. So this is my point of view about the USDT dominance chart, about the Bitcoin chart. But I'm telling you that once on the USDT dominance chart, we see a bounce, or we see a break above this 1-day 12-period exponential moving average. That's when we would have an easy move towards this major swing high. Okay, that's when this whole thesis would be further confirmed, and it's holding really good for now, because we already are seeing a bounce at 65% fib level, which in my opinion is a very good solid confirmation. We still have the short position open on 𝗿𝗍𝗲. I'm going to play this short position fully till we hit 104.5k level on the Bitcoin chart. Now I believe that with just a $200 drop on the Bitcoin chart, we are seeing that altcoins, the mid market cap, low market cap coins, they're really sensitive, right? Because Bitcoin dominance has been going up, which means that a $2,000 drop, a $3,000 drop, that's going to be really ugly for these altcoins. Now, I don't really want to get ahead of myself and, just open another one or two short positions. As I said at the very start of the live stream, I wanted to open one on 𝗏Fi, but unfortunately, I could not do so because this is a small market cap coin. Even if first, I wouldn't really want to share a coin that has a small market cap of 30 million, 40 million. In fact, if I wanted to, I wouldn't really be able to open a short position myself, because I have, usually open big positions on multiple exchanges. So it wouldn't really be possible for me to get at a single entry point. So that's why I avoid opening short positions. Sorry, that's why I avoid opening positions on these small market cap coins. But anyways, we have a few good positions, few good looking positions. 𝗶RCL, this one is also looking good. But once again, small market cap coin, already 5% down. No point chasing the price on this coin as well. Let's go with 𝗿𝗏 only. This is the only position that I'm looking at right now. Already down almost 3%, but let's see what happens, right? I want to play the full position on this one. Others.D, the same story, total two, same story, are sitting at resistance level. I did share a complete detailed update on total 3 yesterday, explaining that because total 3 is at resistance. If you would just go and read the update in my channel. In fact, I did share this on the I believe on my Twitter account as well, in which I explained in detail that because total 3 okay, I did not do that. I did not share the update on my Twitter account. But anyways, because total 3 is sitting at the resistance level, 1-day 12-period exponential moving average, quarterly VWAP, I mean, it's not a very good idea to open any long position. And especially in the daily time frame chart, 1-day 12-period exponential moving average, 1-day quarterly VWAP, 1-day ELD VWAP. I mean, this is not a very good thing to do, right? And considering that Bitcoin dominance has been going up, Bitcoin dominance has been going crazy, right? Just bouncing at the 1-day 12-period exponential moving average. So we did have a good idea that total 3, others.D, they're both going to drop. And so, it would be feasible to open short positions on one of these coins instead of just going with the long positions. As soon as the live stream ends, I am still looking at 1 or 2 more short positions, because now that, I believe the drop is confirmed. We have a confirmed drop down to 104.5k. So it would be a good idea to maybe just get into 1 or 2 more short positions, just catch 1 or 2 more moves. Maybe it's going to be, I don't know what coin is it going to be. I would have to look at some of the other pairs, because most of these coins already have moved considerably away from these, resistance levels that I was looking at. Zeta was also a good short position that I was looking at, but that one is already down almost yeah, this one is down almost 4.73%, so no point chasing the price on any of these coins. 𝗿𝗏 is running, so let's see what happens. Now, let's take a few questions from the chat box. If you have any questions, please make sure to drop. The first retest might have been a successful one. Yes. Would you give a call for long position if Bitcoin hits 106.5k? No, 106.5k, I'm not going to open any long position. In my opinion, you would see a price increase from there. but that's going to be just a symbolic reaction, okay? Because 106.5K reaction almost always happens. I'm not looking to position myself into any long for now. Anthony is asking, I was also wondering whether you think we could have a big rotation into altcoins at some point in this year. Yes, I'm looking at the September timeline, and as soon as dominance reaches 70% level. Now, listen to me here. During the last two bull runs, Bitcoin dominance peaked at 70% level. We have a very small number of data points in this whole data set, right? Just two data points. Just because something has happened two times in the past, you cannot really say that that's gonna happen the third time as well, okay? First of all, you need to understand this thing. So this is why, I, I wouldn't really say that dominance would peak 70% level in any case. Anyone telling you that they have 100% confirmation that this is going to happen is simply just lying to you, because nobody would know when exactly dominance is going to peak. I mean, so many different variables are involved. In fact, it's completely useless to do any sort of technical analysis on the Bitcoin dominance chart, okay? Because that chart is simply just market capitalization of Bitcoin, and it simply just has its own moves going on. So nobody would know for sure if dominance is going to peak, when exactly the altcoin rotation is going to happen. But one small logic may be that just because it has happened in the past, maybe this time it's also going to be the same thing. Okay, that's my take on this whole thing. Maybe this time it's going to be different. Would love if you could prepare a long for 𝗖𝗍. Yeah, that chart is looking really good. It was breaking above the daily time frame resistance the last time I looked at it. Yeah, in fact, so this is my long position that I'm looking at. I would prefer to go long at this level, but yeah, if you wish to take an aggressive long, then this looks good to me. Okay, because it already had a break above a major level. So yeah, this looks good to me. You can take a screenshot, or you can just simply copy paste the entries. But yeah, this is my setup for 𝗖𝗍. Magic limit order expectation. Yes, magic limit order is still valid. I would see, as soon as the live stream ends, I would see if I have to, based on the market condition, if I have to remove the limit order or not. It really depends on the market conditions. Because if we are expecting a major drop in the altcoin prices, then, it's not really going to be a good idea to have that limit order still in place. I would say the chance of dominance hitting 70%, 50-50, either it do or it don't. We won't know till it does not. Yes, exactly. But the only logic that we may have is that, because that thing happened the last two times, so maybe this time it's going to be the same thing, okay? And, the way that it works is that, let's set an alert around here. Sorry, the way that it works is that maybe when dominance hits the 70% level, people would say that, hey, look, the dominance is hitting the 70% level. So, let's rotate into the altcoins. Okay, because at the end of the day, dominance is not something which is not, influenced by any external factors. It definitely is, getting influenced by, people who are making these decisions, you and me, right? So maybe, at this point in time, the smart money is thinking that because dominance has not hit the 70% level, so there is no point getting into anything other than, some major market cap coins or like, Bitcoin. Maybe, once dominance hits the 70% level, that's when, they would start thinking that, okay, let's rotate our capital from these coins, into some other, mid market cap and low market cap coins. Is it possible, AB is asking, Sherlock, please answer, is it possible that we drop below 2100, 2000 in the coming 2 weeks? Are you asking about ETH, 2100, 2000? Yes, it's quite possible. And yes, our 1950 limit is still active. Now, I could have easily given the limits at this level, okay? I have been pointing out the same thing over and over again, that, ETH has a very good support at this level. In fact, I did have a good buying at 2197. So 2197 is my personal entry on ETH. Remember that I have a long-term bag on ETH. I don't really DCA into that spot buying every now and then. I just do it occasionally, right? So my just to be transparent with you guys, my entry for each spot is at around 3100 or around 3000 to 3100. Now I did that buying almost like 1.5 years ago, back in 2021 when ETH was, sorry, back in 2024 when ETH was trading around 3200, 3300 levels. I did not DCA into my bag even when it dropped to 2500. I did not sell when it go up to 4100. Maybe I think I should have done that. But anyways, I did not DCA at 2500, at 2000, at 1800, at 1500, at 1300, because like I said, I don't care about the spot bag that I have. Okay, I do not hold any of these coins in spot until and unless I believe that the coin that I'm holding is going to be a really good project, right? And I don't believe about any of these coins. I don't have believe in any of these coins except for Bitcoin and ETH, right? I also have a spot bag in Dodge also, by the way, but that's a totally separate thing. So my spot buying is in ETH. I was never really concerned about getting out of that spot buying. As I said, price went up to $4,100. I was in a very good profit. I did not take profits off that position, right? Price went down to 1300. I did not do DC. Although I think I should have done that. I should have paid more attention to my spot backs because that was a very good opportunity, generational opportunity. In fact, even if you are not buying at 1300, I mean, nobody would know that the bounce is going to happen from 1300. I believe that maybe I should have bought at this support level 2100, then this support level at 1700, then this support level at 1400. So in order to get a better average entry. So I did not give it much thought until a few days ago. I realized that no, I just need to have a better average entry on this one because I believe in the project. So that's why I'm less concerned. I usually am not acting like this in terms of other altcoins, but with ETH, since I have some long-term expectations from the project, I know that sooner or later it's simply just gonna create a new all-time high, right? It's only a matter of time. No matter how much we are shitting Ethereum, we all know that this is good. This is definitely gonna happen. So I bought almost like 30%, 40% of my original buying at 2197. Okay. Now I'm going to do some major buying at this demand zone. I usually take trades based on, or I usually get into these positions based on Fib levels. You can see that this was a very good opportunity. The first retest of the higher time frame daily support level. I mean, this was always going to be a positive reaction. But for some reason, if you would go into my channel, you would remember that my limits are still placed at 1950 level around this demand zone. Okay, because I don't really want to concern myself with these smaller bounces, and I believe that maybe at some point in time we would clear this demand and then we would clear this zone. Okay, obviously I cannot tell you with 100% certainty that for sure was a good opportunity. I could have given those limits. I could have just bagged this whole move 21. That still is a, if you look at the reaction, that still is an almost 16% reaction. But I'm still looking at a wick down to 1850 to this demand zone, and this is where I expect that you would see some sort of a major reaction. So that is my point of view about Ethereum. If you have any good short positions, please make sure to let me know. Almost all of these coins are looking good for shorts. I'll be honest with you. I mean, Atom, look at Atom. Atom is looking good. Already, we already have a short position on RVN. I'm not going to chase the breakout. I would wait for price to go back up to this entry and then position myself into a short. SSV, that one has been just teasing me for some time. I have been wanting to open a short position on it for quite some time, but yeah, it's simply just away from entry point. LDO, I should have opened a short position on this one, but yeah, you can see that. AF, also a good short position. It was daily time frame resistance level. The reaction was always gonna happen. ACE, it's a small market cap coin. Let's avoid that. Zeta, yeah, this position we did miss. If you remember, we had the short position open. We took our first TP. We were able to catch almost a 12%, 13% move, but then it stopped us break even. Maybe I should have reacted at this second. In fact, the first daily time frame retest also. Will Noble is saying, everyone give this guy a follow. He's a wizard. Thank you so much. Back again for another video. What's your opinion of 𝗬coin? Seems like a project with great utility and market. Wondering what you think yourself and what the charts are saying. 𝗬coin. Okay, so what's the ticker for this coin? What's the symbol for this coin? I believe the last time I looked at this coin, if I'm not wrong, it was listed on KuCoin. I mean, this is a very old project if I remember correctly. I might be wrong, but I have no idea. Is this the same coin? 𝗬coin. Because this is the coin that I'm talking about. No, he is basically asking about me, I guess, Predator. No, I'm not from India. What's the ticker for this coin? Is it 𝗬coin or 𝗬coin? Will Noble, could you please let me know in the chat box? If any one of you have any other questions, let me know in the chat box. Once again, 30 plus people watching the live stream, only 17 of you have liked it. I would really appreciate if all of you are just able to, press the like button. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. The viewership on this channel has dropped a bit recently. I don't exactly know the reason. I would really appreciate if all of you are just able to, show some love. Just, subscribe to the channel. Just make sure to like these live streams. Make sure to engage with all of these videos and everything. What do you think of an ETH scalp long from 24.21? No, ETH is sitting right at the resistance level, so there is no point taking a short right now. Is 𝗖𝗍 a good coin to long? There is a partnership happening in July. I already shared the I already shared the chart for 𝗖𝗍. This is my point of view about 𝗖𝗍. You can take a long position around here. Yes, it's looking good right now. Regarding ETH, as I said, ETH is sitting right under a small resistance level, although. So yeah, not a good idea to, take a long position right now. You can see that this is a small resistance that I'm talking about. What is your bias in the market? Would we have a dump before a break in the all-time high? Predator, you need to watch this live stream, once again, because I did explain this in quite a lot of detail. What are my expectations about this live stream? In fact, I would appreciate if you are able to do so and just, like the live stream as well. Headshot on ETH exactly now is a good idea, or maybe around 2480. No, I don't think that you should be shorting ETH either, although it's sitting at resistance, but it's performing good in comparison to Bitcoin. And ETH has not got a very big resistance level or something like that. The only reason I'm expecting ETH to drop down to 1850 is because there is a demand zone, which has not been cleared as of yet. But that does not mean that ETH has any sort of obligation to drop back down to that level. It may happen, it may never happen, okay? But if it happens, it's going to be a very good opportunity to position into a long. 1850, remember that. 1950, sorry. That's where the limits for ETH are slightly above this demand zone. I mean, this is the most beautiful example of a demand zone. And if price goes back down to fill this limit, fill this level, then that's going to be a generational opportunity in my opinion. I mean, this is a textbook example of a demand zone. Consolidation and then a huge move towards upside. Okay, so orders were definitely accumulated in this range. It's an accumulation zone. So I believe that at some point in time, we are definitely going to go back and, give a reaction at this demand zone. Okay, this is how it basically works. I took a short on ETH at 2475. Should I TP now at resistance? 2475. Okay. It has not given any sort of big reaction as of yet. We are still at resistance. So I would recommend doing the TP because it makes no sense for me to take a shot on ETH, and especially considering the fact that Bitcoin is slightly negative today, but ETH is positive today. Okay, ETH is positive. You can see that we have seen a 0.5% increase in the price during the past 24 hours. I mean, this isn't really good because when ETH is positive, that's a warning sign. I would recommend taking the TP off your position. But remember that, yes, we are at resistance. Yes, we are at 1-day 12-period exponential moving average. Okay, so these two factors you definitely need to count. Guys, see, I'm not someone who trades on 1 minute, 5 minutes, 15-minute time frame chart. Okay, I'm not someone who would trade ETH when it's trading somewhere in the middle. Okay, I would take a short at maybe 2800. I would take a long maybe at 2136. Okay. In between, it's a no-go zone for me. Okay. It's as simple as that. I hope you guys can make sense out of it. But I'm not someone who would be able to. A lot many times I get these questions where people would say that, hey Sherlock, I need a setup on this XYZ coin. But if there is no support or there is no resistance, price is essentially just sitting in the middle of nowhere. I wouldn't be able to give you a setup on that coin, okay? Because I'm not someone who is able to predict every single price tick movement. I mean, nobody would be able to do that. We all have some point of interests. We all have some point of controls. We wait for price to go back to those point of controls, those point of interests, and that's where we make a decision. Okay, so it's not about chasing the price, it's about waiting for price to come back to you instead of going after the price. Okay, it's as simple as that. Okay, so this is the reason why I am very selective about any of these positions that I take. And it's not always that, it's not like I always have a setup with me. This is exactly why it takes some time to get into a position. I mean, there are so many different factors that you have to take into account. Let's just consider the example of 𝗏𝘽 and 𝗍𝒐. Both of those charts looking absolutely good. But what's the reason we cannot get into these charts? The market cap. Okay, I mean, this is something that you wouldn't even count as a factor, but yes, I do, because of the audience that I have. There is a big audience. I cannot afford to share a coin that has a 30 million, 40 million market cap. Maybe sometimes when I think that the setup is looking really good, maybe I would do that. But you can see that, that coin is already almost 6% down, but still I did not share any position on this coin because the market cap is small. Okay, it's as simple as that. But yeah, I'm looking for one more short position. As soon as the live stream ends, I'm gonna do that because of how sensitive, altcoins are in relation to Bitcoin. I mean, that's going to be a very good short position. If we have a drop down to 104.5K, that's going to be a very good opportunity. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And by the way, guys, how many of you are already trading under our referral link on BLOFIN? If you are not, then we recently partnered with BitUnix as well. You can simply just register with our referral link on BitUnix and you can have a 15-day free premium subscription of Foxian as well. Okay, if you already have an account on BitUnix or on BLOFIN, there is no need to do anything. You simply just have to join the Discord server, click the link in the description of this video, just share with us your UID. You don't really have to do anything. We would convert it to our referral. Okay, it's as simple as that. But yes, if you have any problems with the UI of BLOFIN or anything like that, you can always use BitUnix. I have done multiple live streams explaining why you should not be using some of these other exchanges like 𝗏𝗍𝗃, like 𝗓𝗍𝑥, like, some other exchanges, 𝗱𝗏𝗋𝗋, etc., because they have their own problems. Always try to use an exchange which you have some sort of direct line of communication with. I have personally communicated with people working over BLOFIN, people working with BitUnix. They're really good. They're really honest people. And even if you're not trading under my referral link, please use an exchange which has some sort of better UI, which has some sort of guarantee of your assets, and which is good enough. And I'm recommending both of these exchanges. The links you can find in the description of this video as well. The links you can find in our Discord server as well. Join with the referral link. We have some cashback campaigns also going on. But yeah, both of these exchanges have good UI, especially BitUnix has much better spreads, much better UI. So I would recommend that you guys trade on these exchanges. If you have any questions regarding these exchanges, any confusions, anything about KYC, both of these are non-KYC exchanges, by the way. You really don't have to worry about the problem of KYC. And yeah, I would share the link in the description, sorry, in the chat box as well. If any one of you would like to create an account on BitUnix, please make sure that you are doing it using this link. And you would have a cashback as well. I guess it's 5% or maybe 10% cashback or whatever amount you would deposit. And then just make sure to test the UI. At least for God's sake, stay away from 𝗏𝗋𝗃. Okay, this is a humble request to all of you. Stay away from 𝗏𝗋𝗃. Use any other thing except for 𝗏𝗋𝗃. Okay, so that's it for today. If you still have any questions, you can join the Discord server, comment below these below these tweets. I would try to get back to you as soon as possible. All right, why no 𝗏𝗋𝗃? I mean, I have given so many examples of what the hell 𝗏𝗋𝗃 is doing. They are banning the accounts, they are restricting the accounts, they are locking the funds. People are literally crying. People have lost their life savings and everything. This is a humble request to all of you. Please withdraw all of your money from 𝗍𝗍 and deposit it into some other exchange, okay? Yeah, they would freeze your funds for whatever reason, and they recently passed this law. They made changes in the terms of service that they can keep your funds for 365 days. I mean, I have people in my DMs literally crying that they got their funds locked for 60 days, for 90 days, and they are not releasing funds even after 60, 90 days. It's happening to every single person. I got two of my accounts locked, okay? This is what I'm trying to explain to you. I was affiliated with this exchange 2 years ago, okay? They don't really care about anything. They have this automated system in place which is just absurd. They have they realize that, they accept that their system has some glitches. They realize that their system has some abnormalities. It wouldn't let you withdraw your funds. It would ask you for your source of funds out of nowhere. It would ask you to, let's suppose if you have purchased Bitcoin 3 years ago, it would ask you for the proof of those purchases. If you would ask, it would ask you for the proof of the funds using which you purchased those Bitcoin. I mean, it's an absurd, totally absurd situation. I talked to people working in responsible positions with other exchanges. They told me that people with millions of dollars have their accounts locked by 𝗍𝗍. 𝗍𝗍, it's basically run by some criminal cartel or something like that. They make the decisions based on their own choices. So please make sure to just stay away from this exchange. It's literally registered in some third world African country. So yeah, this is not really a good thing. Yes, I would always recommend Binance. If you're using Binance, then that's a good thing. Binance has their own problems, right? They have their own problems. They may ask you for the proof of these funds and everything. But yeah, BitUnix and BLOFIN, I have worked with these exchanges. I've partnered with these exchanges. They're really good, and I would absolutely recommend BitUnix and BLOFIN. You can find the links in the description of this video and in the chat box also. I'm sharing the link for both of these exchanges, our partner links. You can register with these links and you can have a free 15-day subscription of 𝗨𝗀 as well. Just join the 𝗨𝗀 Discord server and just send us your UID and we would take a look at it. No, Bybit also a big no. I do use Bybit, but that's a very absurd situation because I have my funds locked over Bybit. Bybit didn't really lock my funds. It was simply just a misunderstanding. It's a very unique sort of a situation. They usually are very non-responsive. They say that they did not do this mistake. Some of their managers are saying that they did not do this mistake. Their staff is saying that they have fixed the issues at their end and it's not getting fixed. I mean, it's a very long story. I would probably explain it in some other live stream. But yeah, I removed most of my funds from Bybit. I deposited some amount back again, but I removed most of my funds after that Bybit hack that happened at the start of this year. I mean, that was the largest crypto hack ever. They were able to compensate for it. They obviously had enough funds to compensate for it, but I am not taking any chances with any of these exchanges. Okay guys, thank you so much for joining in. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. If you are watching any of these videos, this content for the very first time, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do it. BitGet, it's a Chinese exchange. I usually would just avoid it. Okay, I am trading with BitGet, but I am very cautious with BitGet. Okay, I'll be honest with you. I have talked to some people, who have worked with BitGet, who are working with BitGet. It's a Chinese exchange at the end of the day, so I'm just a little bit cautious with BitGet also. BitUnix, that's fine with me. BLOFIN, that's fine with me because I have very good communication with both of these exchanges. So I'm never really worried about my funds. So I deposit most of my funds over BLOFIN and over BitUnix. I've started doing that. So yeah, I was saying that if you are watching this content for the very first time, I would really appreciate if you are able to just subscribe to the channel. Please make sure to like the live stream, like all of these videos, engage with this content, maybe just drop a small comment. It would mean a lot to me. It would mean a lot to my team. All the effort that we are putting into creating this content, it would really mean a lot. Once again, thank you so much for joining. If you're not following me over Twitter, I regularly share market updates and calls over my Twitter account as well. 𝗟𝘅𝗶𝗵𝗵, this is my Twitter handle. And if you would like to receive more organized calls and updates, you can always join in the Discord server. The link you can find in the description of this video. Thank you so much for joining. Take care and have a great week ahead. Thank you. Bye-bye.